Hi everyone, it's Moa aka Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we're back with a really fun video. So, today I am going to try items from Greggs along with whiskey. I'm of course very passionate about food pairing, so I'll talk a bit about how to think about them and how to try them together, and of course see what whiskies I've paired with these different items. But I would of course love to hear what you think you would pair with these as well, if you agree with me or perhaps if you disagree. So first of all, what is Greggs? So Greggs is the largest bakery chain in all of Britain, and they focus on savoury items like sausage rolls and steak bakes, and then also sweet items like donuts and vanilla slices, and also some sandwiches and stuff like that. They've been closed down now for quite a long time because of the COVID situation, but they've just recently opened up, and this morning I got some of my favourites. So the ones we're going to try today is a sausage roll, a steak bake, a yum yum, and then a donut. So I'm very excited to try these. I mean, a year ago I probably didn't really know what Greggs was. I would say for some people here in the UK it's more an institution or a lifestyle, because a lot of people really love their Greggs. And I believe it was founded around 75 years ago in Newcastle by John Gregg, who set out to deliver on his push bike some eggs and yeast to the locals. But of course later on he started up his own shop, and now it's a big chain with, I believe, almost like 2,000 shops around the United Kingdom, which is quite incredible. And of course when it comes to whiskey tastings, it's kind of two ways you can go. You can either go complementing, so you can try and complement the flavours. If you have similar flavours, so if you have something smoky like smoked meats, you might want to have it with a smoky whiskey. Or you can go contrasting, so if you have maybe something that's really sweet, you might go with something that's really bitter, or just kind of see the differences that way. And of course it's all about trying your way through it and see what you prefer. Maybe you like it but no one else does, but then, I mean, if you like it, then that's good to you. I have not really tried any of these ones that I'm trying today, the pairings, because I thought it would be fun just to do it live right here. So if there's things that might not be working, I am gonna go and have another look at my whiskey shelves and see if I can find something else instead. But I was thinking we'll start with the sweet ones. So we're gonna start with a yum yum. And a yum yum is like, it looks like this. Just a little bit. That's a yum yum. And they're like a donut, but of course in a different shape, and they also have icing on them. And the whiskey I've chosen to pair with this is A Song of Ice, Johnny Walker. This is one of my favourite blends, and I'm so loving this whiskey because it's so clean and crisp and super sweet. And I was thinking a yum yum has that icing that's really sweet as well, and it's that donut flavour. So I was thinking maybe that will go well together, but let's have a little look and I'll talk more about it. So what you want to do when you're trying whiskey and food or anything else that you're pairing it with, I generally say that you should try the whiskey first, really kind of notice the flavours, and then you try a bite of what you're trying with it, and then you really taste it and see what you think. If it goes well together, if there's something that's not really right, and then you go back to the whiskey again. It can of course be really interesting to compare what it's like if you try the whiskey first and then the food, or if you do it the opposite way. But I would say if you take too big a sip of whiskey, then it will be overpowering. You kind of want it to balance each other, and you just want a good experience. And good to remember also, if you have something like cheese or meats or something that's quite oily, it will coat your palate and it will make the alcohol in the whiskey make it seem kick and a little bit of that bitterness. But bitterness is usually good, because if you have a cocktail or something, you put a little bit of bitterness in it, it kind of enhances the other flavours. I would say this is a good pairing. Johnnie Walker Song of Ice with the Yum Yums. So what would you pair with the Yum Yum? Do you have any examples that's different from the one I did? So next up is something that's also sweet, and that is of course a donut. So they're a little bit similar, but this one has different icing. I was considering doing the filled donuts, but I'm not really a fan of them. I just think it's too much, and it would be interesting to do in the future, perhaps one with jam or something like that. But for now, we're sticking to this. And the whiskey I've chosen is Bunnahabhain 12. So we're gonna have a little sip of this. And Bunnahabhain 12 is of course a 12-year-old whiskey from the distillery of Bunnahabhain on Islay, here on the west coast of Scotland. And it's an unpeated Islay whiskey, and it has a lovely kind of oiliness, it's lovely, lovely flavours. It's a really interesting distillery that just makes wonderful whiskey. Yeah, I think it's the oiliness in the Bunnahabhain that attracted me to try this with the donuts. Because I think with the previous one I wanted something, because the icing on the Yum Yum makes it so sweet. So I wanted something that's generally quite sweet in character, like a grain whiskey, and then the Song of Ice really fits that category well. But with a donut I was like, maybe I should do something, because it has so much kind of bready, donutty-ness to it. I just wanted something that was a little bit more oily, but still not peated. So that's why we have this one. Whiskey first. So many yummy flavours. It's almost like it's a bit strawberry today. It has like a little bit of toffee, a little bit also have vegan sausage rolls, and they're my absolute favourite. They're so nice. I think they're nicer than the normal ones, but it didn't have any when I was there this morning. So I have a normal sausage roll here, but if you have to try only one thing at Greggs if you go to visit, goes so well with this fruity whiskey. It is of course interesting with whiskey, so generally whiskey is more like a side sauce than something you like. Really, but then I was like, oh, Talisker Port Ree would have been a really good one to try with this, because it has the kind of fruitiness but also the smoke. But we settled on something lightly peated instead that has a little bit of fruitiness, a little bit of honey flavours, and then a little bit of smoke as well. So the one I have here is the Highland Park 12. So it's going to be really interesting to see if this works. So of course, whiskey first. It has this kind of floral honey leather smoke. Yeah, it's quite robust and it's still quite sweet, and it's a great ram. It's slightly that floral perfume on top of it, but then it has a little bit of spice in the middle, a little bit of that smoke coming out, so it's like quite leathery. But then in the out, so it's like a bowl of that leathery smoke and spice in the middle, and then it's surrounded by quite a soft fruitiness, and then like really, really far out in the edges, you have that kind of floral notes, and then everything is kind of coated with a bit of honey sweetness. But let's have a bite of the steak bake. Interesting. I do think this is a good pairing. It makes it really fruity. You almost take away the smoke from the whiskey. And now it's even sweeter. Hmm. This is the one that kind of intrigues me the most. So I am gonna actually try this one with some other whiskies, just to see what they're like, because I mean I could experiment forever to find the perfect pairings, but the Highland Park is so lovely with the steak bake, because from the steak bake you get the doughiness of the pastry, and then you also get like the meat, it's like a creamy meatiness from the filling, which complements the kind of sweetness and the fruitiness from the whiskey with a honey sweetness. It feels very It feels very fruity, but it feels savoury compatible, if that makes sense. But I'm really interested to see if it goes with peated whiskey and sherried whiskey. So I'm going to try one of each and just see how they go. So I'll be right back. So the one I'm going to try first is the Scallywag, which is a blended malt with whiskies from Speyside. And it is a sherried blend. And of course, I've done reviews on I think all of these whiskies before. So if you're curious to see more about each individual one, then feel free to check those videos out. This is so interesting, so dry and kind of nutty, like autumn leaves and a bit of chocolate in there. This is also a nice pairing. I think the sherried flavours, the kind of dried fruits, the nuttiness, the kind of chocolatey vibe goes really well with the kind of steak bake as well, because it has this like that kind of creamy meatiness I was talking about before. You get like that beef best the next time you're shopping with them. All the information is in the description below, as well as links to my Patreon, my website and my Instagram. And this is not the only food pairing I will be doing. The next one might be McDonald's or KFC or Burger King. I don't know which one to choose out of these three, so I'm gonna put that on my Patreon, so if you want to help me decide, check that out. But of course, I hope you all have had an absolutely wonderful day. Slán bha. Skål!